We got middleweights going at it here as we have Kelvin Gastelum coming in at minus 230 going up against Vicente Luque, who comes in at plus 195. Now, Gastelum is looking to build upon his win over Dustin Stoltzfus from September, but that was a very poor effort. He won without a doubt, but he missed weight by 5 pounds at 185 pounds, which is obviously not a good thing. He obviously struggled at 170 for a long time, which is why the UFC has forced him to 185 pounds, and obviously it wasn't a great look for him to miss as badly as he did against Stoltzfus. I think he had a similar issue against Daniel Rodriguez, which is a fight I believe was taking place at 170, and then on fight week they got it moved to middleweight, and it obviously benefited him with getting the win there over Rodriguez. But that fight with Stoltzfus, there is no excuse for him missing the weight the way that he did. Regardless, he went out there, landed big shots on Stoltzfus, nearly finished Stoltzfus in the second round. And outside of, Stoltzfus having some grappling success near the ending of that second round, even after getting dropped, it was Gastelum in the driver's seat for the most part. He was able to pressure Stoltzfus, land his big shots. It's pretty straightforward what Gastelum does. He doesn't really change up too much. He doesn't grapple offensively all that often. He more so looks to utilize that skill set defensively so he can stalk his opponents and land big shots and try to knock them out with the power that he possesses. Apparently, he was training all over the place. He went over to Fight Ready for the last couple training camps, and it seems like he really lost himself there, hence why he ended up missing weight as badly as he did against Stoltzfus. And then he said, about 4.5 months ago, he changed things up completely. He left Arizona, started training in Vegas, training at the UFC PI. There's also a smaller gym there with a lot of experienced training partners for him that he started mixing it up with. I believe it's a BJJ gym, but there's a lot of mixed martial artists there. He started training there. He spent a month also over at Bang Tao in Thailand. So it seems like he's really taking things seriously this week, but I don't want to trust him on that until we see him on the scale. Let's see what kind of shape he looks like. I trust the fact that if he's entrenching himself at the PI, he's trying to do his best to manage his weight, become the best athlete that he can be, because he might still find some success even at 34 years old. We know he has big knockout power. We know his durability is unparalleled, and he has a good enough grappling game to rely on that on both sides of the spectrum if he needs to. He's going up against a tough guy here in Vicente Luque, though, who is riding a 2-fight losing streak now. Hasn't really looked like the guy that we thought was going to eventually challenge for a title and really become a dominant force in the welterweight division. He was 14-2 after losing on the Ultimate Fighter finale in July of 2015. Like I said, he went 14-2 with his only losses coming against Leon Edwards and Wonderboy Thompson. But then as of 2022, things have really started to fall off to the wayside. He's 2-5 since 2022, wins over Rafael Dos Anjos, a guy that he was much bigger than and easily able to out-grapple, and then was able to club and sub Themba Gorimbo in just less than a minute or so. That was a fight where he had a decided advantage in pretty much every aspect of that fight, and Gorimbo is a guy that I think just relies on his physicality and isn't really the most technically savvy fighter, which is why I think Luque was able to get the better of him. But when Luque fights anybody else, we see him getting dominated. We see him getting finished. Out of his last 4 losses, he's been finished in 3 of them, and some of those were pretty bad. Even the loss that he suffered against Joel Alvarez, very surprised that he managed to stay in that fight for as long as he did, but he was getting dominated from bell to bell. He had some decent success in the first round countering the aggressiveness of Alvarez, but it still wasn't enough for any of the judges to score that fight in his favor. He is a good Muay Thai specialist. He has a BJJ black belt, very nasty with that front choke series that he has, the Anaconda, the Darce. He loves to utilize that. But it seems like the wars are really starting to catch up to him. He's starting to slow down. He doesn't take damage as well as he used to in the past. And I think that's often why we see him as the underdog nowadays and why a lot of people want to fade him and his durability. And it seems like that's what a lot of people are looking to do this weekend, especially with Gastelum all the way up at minus 230. Skill for skill, I think Luque is the better fighter, but considering where they're at in their careers, I believe Gastelum is the better fighter. Now, something to take note, Luque, career 170er, coming up to 185 pounds for this matchup. And it's not like it's a short notice spot. he was originally scheduled to fight Kyle Dawkins, who is a middleweight, but once Dawkins got plucked to go fight Bo Nickel on the White House card, Calvin Gastelum got inserted into this, and the fight still stays at 185 pounds. So I wonder if Luque is trying to go up a division here just to stay a little bit safer and hope that not cutting the weight will help his durability. I just don't think it's going to work out that way. I think we'll see Gastelum eventually land those big shots. I think we see him really work through the Muay Thai advantage of Luque. I think it's just a matter of time before Gastelum ends up landing that big shot to flatline Luque, and we see Calvin get another win here. I think he wins by knockout. Minus 230, kind of the limit of what I'd be willing to pay on Gastelum, but I think I'll wait till weigh-in day and see what he really looks like on the scale and then determine if I want to take that type of chalk. But I'm expecting Gastelum to get the knockout here and look quite emphatic with it as well.